In this video, we are going to see about transformers. These are the transformers which we normally see on the roadside near our home. So from these transformers, we will get the power supply for our home. In addition, we might have used these type of small transformers which can reduce the voltage from 230 volt AC supply. It can be stepped down to 12 volt or 9 volt depending upon our requirement. So these transformers are normally used for some small projects. For example, to build a rectifier or to build a voltage regulator circuit or any small projects, we can use these type of circuits. In addition, there are also small transformers to power low power devices. First, let us see why do we need a transformer. So if you take our house, there are a lot of electrical appliances which needs electricity for its operation. It may be a 230 volt or 220 volt 50 hertz AC supply or a 60 hertz AC supply. Depending upon the country you live in, the frequency of the supply and the voltage settings will be different. Okay, so finally we need some AC supply for our equipment to operate. So where do we get the supply from? Normally, power plants are the places where power is generated, and normally they are located in a remote place due to the availability of the raw material. Another factor is they create a lot of pollution, and also they need a lot of space. So due to these factors, they are mostly located at a remote place. And in the power plant, if we see, there will be 2 or 3 generators which are used to generate the power. So normally the generation voltage can be from 11 kV to 33 kV. It differs depending upon the capacity of the power plant. The voltage range may be different. So we can see here the power plant, the generated voltage is in kilovolt. That is, for example, if we say it is 11,000 kilovolt, but what we need is only 230 volt. It's a very low value. It is generated at a very high voltage. So we need to bridge this gap. Another thing is this power plant is located at a faraway place. We have to bring this power from the power plant to our home efficiently, that is without much losses. So this power has to be transmitted over long distance. So to do all these functions, we depend upon transformer. So the transformer helps to transfer the power efficiently from the power plant to the home. You see in this picture, the power plant is generating at 11 kV. You have a step up transformer, and this 11 kilovolt is stepped up to 400 kilovolt. Next we will see why we are stepping up. Okay, so just now you leave that we are stepping up the voltage to 400 kilovolt. We are using here a step up transformer, and you see this power is transmitted at this voltage 400 kilovolt, and then when it comes to distribution side, again transformers are used to step down the voltage so that we get 230 volts in our home. So the transformer can either step up the voltage or it can step down the voltage also. So transformer can be used either for stepping up or stepping down the voltage. Why do we step up the voltage? This is the generating station and the load is here, and we are transmitting the power over a long distance. You can see here the long transmission line is there as shown here. So this in practical, this transmission line will have some resistance. So this resistance will lead to power losses when there is a current in the transmission line. So when current flows in this line, I square R power loss will be there. So if I is more, power loss is going to be more. We don't need any power loss. Okay. So we have to reduce this current so that power loss will be reduced. How to reduce the current? By increasing the voltage, because for constant power, if I decrease I, V should increase so that power will be constant. So I'm going to increase the voltage and transmit it so that in the transmission line my current will be less. So we may be generating at a different voltage. If you suppose if I transmit at 11 kV, the power loss, the 11 kV, the power loss will be more compared to if I transmit at 400 kV, because 1 by 400 K is a very low value compared to 1 by 11 K. So when you increase the voltage, the power loss will be less so that you can easily transmit the power at a very high voltage. So by increasing the voltage, we are able to decrease the current and the power loss is also decreased, so that efficiently we are able to transfer the generator power to the load. So we saw the voltage, as the voltage increases, power loss decreases. But to what extent we can increase the voltage? So since power loss will be less, I cannot go for any voltage. So if I increase the voltage beyond a limit, what will happen? The transmission tower size is going to increase. If this increases, insulation will also increase and the cost of installation will be very high. So compared to power loss, if the installation cost is very high, so it is not an economical solution. So we have to choose an optimum voltage. Another thing, as the voltage increases, there will be a lot of humming noise produced by the power lines. And another thing, safety. Safety is also a major concern when you go for a very high voltage. Only in some limited places we have ultra high voltage transmission is there. So about transformer, what we should know is that they don't have any moving parts. Okay, it is called a static device. So unlike a motor or a generator, which we have a moving part, this is called a static equipment where there are no moving parts, and the efficiency of the transformer will be usually very high. It can be go as high as 98% also. So normally you can easily achieve about 96%. That is not a big issue. How to achieve the voltage transformation? The simplest method is using a potential divider. So you apply the voltage here and get the output across the particular resistor. But the part of the power will be wasted in this resistor. Another thing is only you can achieve voltage reduction, because suppose if you are applying 100 volts, you will get only a part of the voltage here depending upon the resistor value. So you can achieve only voltage reduction. So this is not a feasible method. So instead of resistor, you can go for inductance. So here you give the input in one side and you take the output here. Here also you will get only reduced voltage. So this is a type of transformer. We call it as an auto transformer. Because here there is no separate connection between input and output. So input is applied here. A part of that is taken as an output. So we will talk about auto transformer later. So this is called the transformer. So here we give an input supply to a winding. The other winding we connect the load. So you have actually two separate coils which are electrically separated. That is, there is no electrical connection between these two, but they are magnetically coupled. So only the flux linking through the primary, the flux through this coil will be linking with the second coil, Through that you are transferring the current to the load. So this type is called the transformer, and we are going to discuss about this transformer only. So you can see here one winding is here to which the supply voltage is connected, and another winding is here to which a load is connected. Okay. So there is no electrical connection between these two coils, and the two coils are placed on a core, iron core. Okay. So the first winding to which the input is connected is called primary coil, and the second, this is called the secondary winding. So this is primary winding and this is the secondary winding. So we can say that a transformer is a static piece of apparatus because there is no moving part, it is fixed, which is used to transform electrical energy from one circuit. So this side we are connecting, transforming the electrical energy from this side to the other side. Here, with the help of a transformer, we can increase the voltage or decrease the voltage by changing the number of turns in the coil. So N1 and N2 represents the number of turns in the coil. So by changing the number of turns, we can change the voltage ratio. That is, what should be the input voltage and what should be the output voltage. That ratio can be changed by changing the number of turns in this coil. And you have to remember that in transformer, the frequency remains the same. That is, if I give the source at 50 Hertz, output is going to have the voltage level will change, but frequency will not change. The same frequency you will get it here. See the principle of operation. So when you have a coil and you pass a current through the coil, a flux will be produced. So a flux will be linking with the coil. Now, according to Faraday's law, an EMF will be induced in the coil whenever there is a rate of change of flux. So when this flux changes, linking with the coil changes, EMF will be induced. Suppose if I give a DC current, for example, I am connecting a battery to this coil, a DC current will flow. We know DC current means it's a constant one. So when you pass this current, a flux will be produced, but it will not change. It is like a constant flux. So in this case, no EMF will be produced. But what we want is, we want a EMF to be induced in the circuit. So we cannot use a DC for a transformer. We need a AC current, alternating current for the transformer. So now I have an alternating current, which is like this. So if I give this type of current, so during one cycle, for example, if it is a positive half cycle, flux will be produced in one direction and it keeps changing. When I change during the negative half cycle, the current direction changes, flux changes. So in this case, there will be a rate of change of flux and we will get an EMF. So transformers work with alternating current. That is what you have to remember. We saw that, and whenever there is a rate of change of flux, an EMF will be induced. So let us see how to get that EMF. There are two types of EMF. One is called dynamically induced EMF that we normally get in generator or a motor. So what is that? Here the field will be kept stationary. So you can see here magnetic field is there created by the magnets, that is stationary, and this coil will be rotating in it. So here it will cut the flux and EMF will be generated. So this is called dynamically induced EMF. In case of a transformer, what we get is called a statically induced EMF. So here the coils are kept stationary or the conductor is kept stationary, only the field is varying. So by this way we are getting the EMF in a transformer, which we call it a statically induced EMF. So we have a primary coil and we give the AC supply to the primary coil. So when the current flows, there will be a flux will be created, and this flux, due to the change of this flux, an EMF will be induced. So the EMF induced in the primary coil is called self-induced EMF, because due to the presence of power supply here, EMF is induced in the same coil. We call it as a self-induced EMF. Whereas a part of the flux will be linking with the secondary coil also. So due to that, an EMF will be induced in the secondary coil. So that we call it as mutually induced EMF. Now, the two coils, we have shown it as separately. Actually, we have to make sure that all the flux linking with coil 1 should also link with coil 2. Or we need to ensure that the leakage flux is very less. The flux which is not linking with coils should be very less. So for that, normally a transformer core will be used. So this is what is shown here is called the transformer core, which ensures that there is efficient magnetic coupling between the both the windings, primary and secondary windings. So whatever flux generated here should link with this one. Okay. So by transformer core, we can efficiently transfer the electrical energy from primary to secondary. Okay. So you see here, iron core is there. Over that, windings are wound. And in this circuit, this is the representation of the transformer. Here, these two lines represents that there is an iron core in the transformer. If there is no line, it indicates that it is a air core transformer. That is, no core is there, or air core transformer. So here you have an iron core, which is represented by these lines. There are two types of transformer: step down transformer, where the output voltage will be less than the input voltage, or step up transformer, the output voltage will be greater than the input voltage. So this is the step down transformer. You can see here, if I give 100 volts, I will get 50 volts, provided this turns ratio. So if I have 100 turns here, if I have 50 turns here, then the turns ratio will be same as the voltage ratio. Okay, V2 is equal to N2 by N1 into V1. So this is step up transformer where N2 will be greater than N1. And the transformation ratio K is given by N2 by N1. So this will decide the voltage ratio of the transformer. So the primary winding turns N1, secondary winding turns, if it is N2, I can write V2 by V1 equal to N2 by N1. Now we have to get the relation for the current also. So we assume that in a lossless transformer, input power is equal to output power. So power is V into I. So V1 I1 equal to V2 I2. So you will get this relation from here. So in general, we can write transformation ratio K is equal to N2 by N1 or V2 by V1, that is equal to I1 by I2. Okay. So that is why when we reduce the current, the voltage should increase. You can see here, this relation will be there. So the transformer works on the principle of electromagnetic induction. It works only with alternating current. Voltage can be increased or decreased, and there will be no change in the frequency. If you transfer the power at 50 Hz, you will get at 50 Hz only. And it is a static device. So transformer, we can call it as an electromagnetic energy conversion device, because the electrical energy in primary is converted to magnetic energy and then converted back to electrical energy in the secondary. So if you like the video, do subscribe to Read Electric Vehicle channel. Thank you.